Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Can you guys hear me okay? I feel like this microphone's not right. But, yeah, we are here, back from Jamaica. I was down there with Puma to go watch Champs, which is the Jamaican national boys and girls track and field meet. It was pretty amazing. And then I came back Sunday night. But I really wanted to get that video out, and so we didn't do a live stream yesterday. So I haven't seen you guys in a while, so it's good to be back. Not going to do an unboxing today because I figure we'll probably spend most of our time talking about Jamaica and any races that you guys have done since I haven't seen you since the weekend. So if you ran Shamrock Shuffle, if you did any other races, let me know if you raced or if you hit any PBs. But before we get to that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good run. I'm a little bit disoriented and still kind of out of breath because I just got back from my long run for today. It didn't go exactly as planned, so that was a little bit frustrating. And it was raining and windy, and I'm still very cold. That's why I'm wearing like a sweater and a hat. And I'm like, I feel like I'm out of breath still. But hopefully I'll get settled in, and hopefully you're getting settled in as you're listening to this on your long run. And for everyone watching this later but not live, this is the number one place to be if you forgot to get ahead of your taxes this year and now you're playing catch up. You're in good company. This is the right spot to be. You open this in one window, you do your taxes in the other. You know, win-win. Productivity and entertainment all in one. All right, let's see who we got in the chat. Andrew Cho says, yo, what's going on? How was the trip, Co? Hope it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's always... you never know what's going to happen on some of these trips because you have an idea. They tell you, a lot of times the brands will tell you why they're bringing you out there. You get kind of some sense of it, but I don't always find out who else is going. And so before I went, Tommy was fishing around, and I was like, if I was going on a trip anytime soon before Boston, and I was like, are you going down to Jamaica? He's like, yes, I'm going. I was like, okay, well, at least I'll know Tommy down there. And then it turns out there was a lot of people there. Palabra de Runner was there. Jeff from Let's Run Faster was there. And I've interacted with them online, but I've never met them in person. Ben is Running was there, so it's always good to see him. I think the last time I saw him was in Budapest last summer. Carleth Keys was there. Emily Abadi. I met Fashion Jogger for the first time in person, so that was nice as well. And then Sarah and Tom from Running Channel were there. And then a bunch of other influencers as well. So it was like influencer summer camp for sure. It kind of also felt like influencer Jamaican cruise, because everything was very structured and stuff. So yeah, it was good. The track meet was amazing. In retrospect, I wish we could have spent more time at the track meet. It was a multi-day event, but not everyone's super into that, so I get it. I met Anderson from City Smack, so it was good. It was a really good trip. Frank Miller says, what we need is the actual audio of Co singing Three Little Birds. So if you guys watched the video, we went on the Tough Gong tour, which is Bob Marley's studio, and they let you go to the studio and sing a song. And the thing is, they record it when you sing it, and then they airdrop it to you when it's done. Because they don't edit it; they just have the background track, and then you're in the studio and you sing, and so they just slap it together, and it's done. And there was a group of us that sang Three Little Birds, and another group of us sang One Love. I forget the actual name of the song, but that's the one that I sang, and that's a tricky song to sing. It was not great. And so, yeah, I elected not to get my phone out to get the song airdropped to me. Someone may have it, but I don't have it. So, yeah, there we go. Going with Lover says, what an entrance by Usain Bolt at Puma Island. Yeah, so, before the trip, they had hinted, it'll be fun. We'll go to Jamaica. You go see Champs. You get to meet a lot of athletes. And we may even have some red stripes with one of the fastest athletes to ever live. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, we'll tell you more when you get here. I was like, okay, that's a nice hint. So we get to this island, and I was nervous about getting to the island because I get very seasick, but it ended up being fine. But I was very nervous about it. And so I was like sitting very carefully on the boat. I was like, I don't want to move too much. I don't want to do too much filming because if I focus on like a camera, I might get seasick. But I ended up getting there fine. And then a little bit after we get there, he's coming in one of those like rafty boats, you know, and like he's not driving it, but someone's like in the back with it with the little motor in the back. And he's holding a 360 camera while he's getting off the boat too. And they showed us the footage of that later on in the weekend. And it was actually really funny. By the way, Usain Bolt is gigantic in real life. He's super, super tall. I mean, I feel like you guys all knew he was tall, but like meeting Usain Bolt is like meeting a real life superhero. You know what I mean? Like it was incredible. And he has such a deep voice. It's he could be a bad guy in a movie with the voice so deep. So it was it was pretty amazing. AJ says, I guess I kept you in the sanitized areas of Kingston. Not really, not all the time. But we had like, I don't want to say guards, but we had lots of guides all the time. And whenever we drove anywhere, we had a police escort. I think that was more for traffic reasons, but who knows? But yeah, so it felt a lot of times like I was on a cruise ship. You know, everything was very like scheduled and like don't leave the group. But I got the sense that it wasn't a matter of like, you know, we want to like curate the day. I think it was a safety issue, so I didn't really push it too much. You know. Governor Waller says, how did Puma select the influencers to be part of the trip? I'm not sure. It was a very international group. So there were multiple other influencers from, like in the U.S., there was another dude from Miami that I met. And then there was a guy from, an Australian dude who lives in Dubai, which I thought was a really interesting kind of like combination of places. A couple of other British, UK influencers that were there. I'm not sure. I think it's people that were like a lot of people that are like showing a lot of shoes. Oh, the Woods were there. Adam Wood and Mika Wood were both there. So I think it was just people that are fast. Not that I'm necessarily that fast, but I mean like people that are talking about shoes, running in shoes. Emily Abadi was there. She's a podcaster. Sorry, I'm like shivering down here. So I'm not sure how they picked it, but I'm guessing like the main thing that they wanted to like talk about the weekend though, it wasn't just about like, hey, we want to tell you guys about a track and field meet. It was that too, but and they, I guess you could sponsor high schools in Jamaica, and so Puma sponsors a lot of high schools down there. And then, but they were revealing the Olympic kit, so I think they wanted like people that could film it well. And also had an audience that could show it well. So, yeah, I think that's what was going on. Steve 76 says, Adam and Mika signs with Kofuzi Elite. Can you imagine? That would be kind of fun. That'd be fun if I had an elite team. And I think that it would make a lot of people very mad. Let's Run would be very pissed off. Not necessarily the website, but the people that go to that website would be very mad about like an influencer elite team. Steven C 1984 says, so when is Bolt coming on the channel as a guest? I would not expect that that's going to happen anytime soon. I was told that I had a minute and I had 3 questions, and I thought that the second one would end up being a little bit faster of an answer, but he talked a little bit longer on that one. And so like by the time my third question got out, like I was getting signals like, that's it. Your turn is over. So, so it was pretty, there was a lot of people there. So like I think they wanted to be mindful of everyone's time, you know, so, Carlos Grego says, it seemed like a wide swath of influencers, those who are big on YouTube and some bigger on IG. Holly B to Adam Wood is a wide selection. Yeah. It was a good group, though. I felt like the vibes were good amongst the entire group. Yeah. And so, like, and not everyone there was, like, influencery. There were some, like, more old school media, too. I mean, I guess, like, Anderson from Citius Mag is more kind of, like, traditional media. And then there was a guy from, I don't know, one of the European sports channels was there. He was doing stuff. And then there was a couple people. There was like a crew that came with them. And they were really just, they were all they cared about was interviewing the athletes. You know, they didn't care about any of the other stuff. I don't even know if they went to the track meet now that I think about it. But yeah, so like different people were there to see different things, you know, so. But yeah, that's why you get a bigger selection of people, you know. Bisham Mom says, why is cold? It's because I just got back from my long run. It's cold. Winds are crazy. And it was raining most of the time. And I'm just cold. I just got out of the shower. And I'm just shivering. Sorry. Steven76 says, would Bolt understand 40? I think Bolt probably would, but like the question is, like, I was talking with Sharika Jackson, and like I could understand what she was saying in context, but like when so in the minute, like in the conversation, I understood everything she was saying. But then when I went to go back and listen to the video later, I was like, wait, what did she just say? Because I was thinking about trying to transcribe what she said. The audio was horrible. The room there, it was so loud, and it was like echoey and stuff. And I was like, maybe I should transcribe it. But then I was like, I don't know what she said a couple times. And so that would be funny if like, because she had a thicker accent. And so if she was trying to transcribe what 40 said and vice versa, that would be pretty funny. All right. Looks like we got, sorry, I'm shivering. Okay. Well, we got some race results here. Mike, the Swee runner, says, small 1 minute PB last week, 10K race in Stockholm. 1 minute PB. That's not small. That's a big deal. Mike, great job. Love to see that. Let's see. And then some other news. Let me scroll back up here. Someone mentioned it. Let's see. Matt Beyer got 8 treadmill miles in the morning to avoid the rain and 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts outside. Yeah, I probably should, but I think tomorrow's wind is going to be worse, at least in the Midwest. So I was like, if I got to do I already was supposed to do my long run yesterday, but I was just feeling too groggy from the trip. So I was like, I'll do it Tuesday. And then if I waited till Wednesday, the weather would have been even worse. So, but yeah. And Steve McKellar says he's on the beach in Puerto Vallarta. He's on vacation after a 3-minute PB at the Around the Bay 30K. Nice work, Steve. And Calvin first says, Wagwan go. And he also says he ordered the Path Projects hat a little bit before the official release, and it should be here on Thursday. Nice. So the non-elite hat, the one with all the marathon cities underneath the visor, that officially released yesterday evening, but some people had already figured out that it was on the website earlier. Everyone on the Discord already knew. Flores messaged me. I was editing the Jamaica video. He messaged me and was like, hey, the link is live if you want to share it. And I was like, okay. First place I go is to Discord. It's already up on the Discord. People found it. And I was like, you guys are fast. And then I went over to Strava and I put the link there. And then this morning I put the link up in Instagram. So I think it's pathprojects.com/Kofuzi. That's usually where they put it. But I'm guessing if you just go to Path Projects, you might be able to find it right away. But if you guys have been looking for that hat, it's available now. I'm wearing the other non-elite hat, the winter one. I wore the non-elite cap, the new one. I wore that on my run today. And I think they ordered a lot of them. I think Flores might be nervous because he's like, do you want to make sure you have some content ready for when it releases? I was like, yeah, I'll be ready. I'm fine. But yeah, I think they ordered a lot, but I don't want people to miss out. I feel like the first non-elite hat, they didn't order that many. And it's been a long time since we've had a non-elite hat. So I think they did a lot of them this time. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Sorry, I'm sniffling. Rashkamir Rashinji says, hey, Go Fizzy. Believe in the runs can be at Cherry Blossom in April by their website event listing. Will you be there? I could drive there if you're planning a shakeout. Thanks. I am not going to be there this year. I just have so much travel going on. I love that race and I would love to go, but I'm going from Boston to London, and then I'm going to a third location in Europe while I'm over there. And so I'm already going to be gone like almost 3 weeks. And so I couldn't really justify another trip away from home. So something had to give. And it was the Cherry Blossom 10 mile. So sorry, but I won't be there. But I think that they're going to have an event and it should be a lot of fun. The event that we did together last year, that was a lot of fun. The weather was not great. It rained really hard. But if they do it at the Georgetown Fleet Feet or whatever that running store is in Georgetown, there is a 90-second pizza place next door. I highly recommend the pizza. It's in a big giant oven. It's in the Neapolitan style, 90 seconds or less of cooking time. And it's really good. Really, really good. Frank Collier said, good question, Frank. What are the top 5 tracks that you've ever run on? So I mentioned in the, sorry, I'm so sniffly. I mentioned in the Runners Weekend video that the Usain Bolt Blue track is probably one of the top 5 tracks that I've ever run on. And I knew someone would ask this question. And I think without putting them in a specific order, I would have to say that like that one, like this, the track was a beautiful track, a great surface. Nice, fast, bouncy track. But like the history of the play, or like not the history, it doesn't have that much, as much history as it does significance because it's a Usain Bolt track. But also like where it's nestled in like around, like in between mountains there. And there was like just beautiful clouds and fog and it was really nice. So like that was just such a special place to run. I'd say some other ones are the track in Chamonix. That one, it's a short track too. It's kind of weird. I think it's like 300 meters or something like that. But that's a really fun one too. Really beautiful. I'd say the track in Mammoth Lakes is also a really nice track, although it's at 7,000 feet. So it's kind of really painful to run there. But that's one. Hayward Field, that's a very special track as well. I got to run on that one once. I did one lap on it. And then, I don't know. I don't know if I have a 5th. I'm not sure if I have a 5th. But I wanted to leave it open, you know. I didn't want to be like, it's the best or one of the best. I just wanted to leave it like top 5. So that's kind of, that's my listing. Will Lang says, would you say the fashion juggler is an influencer? Any chance of getting her on the channel now that you met her? I mean, she's definitely an influencer. She's got like 2 million followers on Instagram. It's pretty amazing. She's very good at what she does. And it's always eye-opening to watch people that are very good at this do what they do. So that was really cool. I don't know if I'll get her on the channel. She's Italian. She speaks English, but I don't speak any Italian, and I'm not sure how strong her English is, so I'm not sure. Martha wants to know, how was the coffee there? All the coffee I had there was really good. The Chulux, it's basically like a knockoff Keurig. The coffee that they had in the hotel was pretty good. I enjoyed it. They had brewed coffee a lot for us. Puma did. There was always like a big thing where you hit the spout and then it comes out. I don't know if the stuff that they had for us was Blue Mountain coffee. But I did have some Blue Mountain coffee at the airport on the way out. I was told that the Blue Mountain coffee was the Jamaican coffee beans are really excellent, and it was very, very good. Kind of remind me of Kona coffee a little bit in terms of like kind of like there's a unique strongness that's not bitter. It's bold but not bitter. I don't know if that even makes sense, but yeah, so it's good. Adam wants to know if I've run the Blue Oval at Drake. I haven't run the Blue Oval at Drake, and I've never run the track at Penn. I never went to Penn relays in high school. I was never good enough. And so I feel like those are some tracks that I'm definitely missing out on. Kevin wants to know if I've been on the BU indoor track. I have not been there. I think I've only run on like 2 or 3. I really think I've only run on one indoor track before. I mean, there was an indoor track we used to run in high school. I don't remember where it was. But in college, there's an indoor track at University of Chicago that I ran on once. That's a weird space. It feels like you're in an old-timey box, unless they moved it or upgraded it, but it felt like I was in an old-timey boxing gym that they just wedged a track inside. It was kind of a weird space. Yeah, Eric says 2 million. Yeah, Fashion Jogger. So like I knew she had a lot of followers. But then someone was like, yeah, she's got 2.3 million followers. I was like, that's a lot. And then she did a reel with Usain Bolt, and Usain Bolt accepted to be a collaborator on it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, she's probably got like more followers than he does. And people were like, no way, man. I'm like, yeah, there's no way Usain Bolt has more followers than. I don't think he has a lot more followers than Fashion Jogger. And people were like, check it. And Usain Bolt, do you guys know how many followers Usain Bolt has on Instagram? I mean, I guess I haven't. I thought I looked at it on my phone, but maybe someone can verify. But if I'm not mistaken, Usain Bolt has like 13 million followers on Instagram. It's wild. Yeah, Martha says the Blue Mountain coffee is what I was thinking of. Yeah, so I was thinking about buying a whole bunch of it and bringing it back. But then I was worried about like getting caught up in customs and stuff. And I just didn't want to have to deal with that. And I was like, I'm sure I could buy it here. It'll cost a lot more and it's not as like fun because it's not the coffee that I brought back. But I was just like, I don't want to have to declare anything. And I'm still really not sure how that works in terms of bringing like food products internationally. So I just avoided it, Arena says, hi, Co. Any suggestions on how to taper for a 10K? I'm not really sure. I haven't raced a 10K in a long time. It's probably been about 5 years, maybe 6 since I've raced a 10K. So I'm not sure. I'd probably start tapering about a week out, maybe 10 days out. Reduce mileage, keep intensity, but reduce how much intensity there is. So if you're doing speed work, just do a little bit of it, just to make sure your body still is in like working hard mode and not in like, oh, we're resting time, So that's what I would do. Bishan Mom says, isn't Blue Mountain Jamaican and super expensive? That's what people say. They say it's very expensive to get it imported into the U.S. So they were like, you should buy it while you're there. And I was like, okay. I really would have preferred to just like bought a bunch of it when I got there and like binged on it while I was there. I had some coffee while I was there, but not enough, I think. Carlos Guerrero says, come out to Albuquerque for our indoor track. It's pretty sweet. Granted, it's in a convention center. It is? I didn't know that. It must be. It's pretty big. Didn't you guys just have nationals there? And Phil says, thinking outside the track box. If you sign up for the Indy Mini, you get to run a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's an awesome experience. Do you stop and kiss the bricks when you do that, Phil? I imagine you kind of have to, right? Neil Strachan says, I'm getting adverts on Insta for spreadsheets and it's definitely your fault. That's pretty funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're getting spreadsheet advertisements. You know what I was getting a lot of on Instagram for a while? I must have been liking them or what. But it was like PowerPoint tricks, like how to take your boring PowerPoint and make it look nicer. And like I used to make PowerPoints for a living. And so that's the kind of stuff that I used to teach law students how to do, among other things. But I was like, oh yeah, see, I'm rusty. I don't know any of these tricks anymore. This is pretty nice. This actually looks good. So I was getting super into it, and I'm like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need to make nice PowerPoints. So sorry. All right, Marty B says Usain Bolt has 13.8 million followers. That's crazy. Margaret said, this should be for Trivia Tuesday. How many followers do the athletes have? We could do that. Let's do that. We'll do that next Trivia Tuesday. Maybe we'll play a game this week. And I'll be like, guess how many followers? And we'll put different athletes on there. All right, there we go. Yeah, Louis says, I don't even follow Usain Bolt, but maybe I should. And Frank says, what does Bolt do on his IG? I'm not sure. I don't think I follow him. I'm not sure. And Terry says, bringing coffee through customs is not a good idea. Here's the thing, though. They sell it all over the airport. So that's why it's confusing. You can just buy beans of it, like bags and bags of beans. Like every gift shop has bags of beans in it. You know what's weird is like when you go through customs, they're like, did you bring any food? And I say no, because I usually don't bring food with me if I'm flying international. If I'm flying domestic, I usually fill my bag full of snacks and like protein bars and stuff. But I did have gels with me, so I was like, is gels food? I said no. And so, because I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be, I don't think that's the kind of food that they care about. But like, it's a problem. You can't bring like fruit and stuff, But then I'm like, you could buy fruit at the airport and then fly internationally with it. And then you brought fruit to another continent. I don't know. I really don't know how that works. It's always something that like gives me a lot of stress when I'm flying. Nick Fram says, late to the party. Did you Shamrock this weekend? I really wish I would have, but I was out of town, so I didn't get to do Shamrock. I was just talking with Laura Thweet about it. She ran Shamrock this weekend, and I think the last time I ran it was the year that she won it, which was a little while ago, maybe 2019. I think it was 2019. And so I'm like, I'm due to go back. It's a fun race. You start and end in the same places as the Chicago Marathon, and it's the unofficial start of the running season here. So, and Cole Blue says, you could have brought coffee back from Jamaica. It's sold at the airport. I know, but yeah. So it's like, does that mean it's okay if it's at the airport? Does that mean it's been screened for like parasites or whatever things that they're worried about when you're bringing organic products, like food products? I don't know. Zachary Hymus says, hey, Carl, are you keeping up with the Speed Project at all? Not really. I don't normally follow it. I feel like it really needs like a Need for Speed kind of movie, like documentary about it, you know? And I don't know if those exist. I know people that followed one team, but I need kind of like an over the top, melodramatic, like day by day, kind of the way I need like a Golden Trail type of coverage of it. I'm not interested in making it, but I'd love it if someone else did, you know? So. And Governing Waller said, "Co, you should have got on the Airhead Jamaica boat with Tommy. It looked wild." A lot of people got on that thing, but I have both. I get seasick and I have vertigo. So something like that, it could have wrecked me for the entire day. And I was like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm like, I rode a bus, a boat, and then a smaller boat to get onto the island from the bigger boat. I'm like, I'm not going to press my luck. Those buses that we were on, they were the most uncomfortable buses. And they drove those things they were just all over the place. And I always thought we were going to get into an accident, clip somebody, get clipped. It was kind of terrifying. But those guys, they got us through all the entire weekend unscathed. They did a great job. Cobalt says that the winners from Champs Track come up to represent their schools at Penn Relays. Do they really? I was talking with Peter Abramka about it, and he's like, you should go to Penn Relays. I'm like, oh, I've never been to Penn Relays, actually. I remember that was the flex. That was the flex in, do you guys remember that? That was the flex when like kids went to Penn Relays and they came back and then they had the shirt with the P on the back. You know? That was how you flexed your running like status before like Tracksmith was invented. You know what I mean? That's why I'm surprised that Tracksmith doesn't have a T with like that with a diagonal color on one part to make it look like a nautical flag. I'm just really surprised about that. But like I feel like Penn Relays, Tracksmith, kind of like same vibe. You know? Mm-hmm. Martha says, you have to be careful what you like on IG. It learns faster than a baby with a high IQ. Mark Peterson says, I got a video for the Excel World Championships this morning. Wow, that was a thing. I don't know what else you guys are liking. That's not all on me. There's something else that you guys must be doing that you're getting that. Amanda Run says, the AI tricks for Office, I'm sure is going to make those tricks even wilder. I bet. And Gibbsy Run says, I've never had issues bringing coffee back from Peru when I visit my in-laws. Oh, really? Okay. See, I'd be more interested in bringing back Peruvian coffee than... The Jamaican coffee was good, but it's maybe a little bit too flavorful for me. I tend to like Central American and South American beans if we're going single source. You know? That's a little bit more my speed. Sounds really nice. Getting to Run says, do gels count as a liquid? I put them in my liquids bag. At least my Science and Sport ones for sure. I mean, like if you got to put toothpaste in the liquids bag, then you got to put goos in there too. It's basically the same thing. You know? Vanessa Martinez says, 13 million people follow Usain Bolt to watch him take things down from the highest shelves. I'd watch that. That's funny. If you were really tall, Vanessa, would you just stand at the grocery store by the top shelf and just wait for people to be like, you need me to get that for you? And just reach it. Just anyone that walks down the aisle, you want me to get that for you? even if they're not interested, just be like, you sure? It's right here. I can get it. And Runner Will says, my relatives bring coffee beans back all the time from Jamaica. Okay. Well, if I ever go back, I'm gonna bring back the beans. Here's the thing that's gonna confuse it even more now. I just got global entry. So if I have to declare, do you have to declare it? Do you have to declare when you bring back food? You got it, right? And then can you still go global entry if you have something you have to declare? I don't know. So I'm at the we landed the flight. I had to connect through Atlanta, so we're going through customs in Atlanta, and he swipes my passport and he's like, "Oh, you just applied for global entry and got conditionally approved." I was like, at first I'm like, "How do you know that?" I'm like, "Oh, this is customs. They know. They have my passport. They just scanned it." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You can do your interview right now if you want." And I was like, I had 3 hours in between flights. And I was like, yes, I do. And so I had to wait for a little bit. But I was able to get my global entry interview taken care of. And that saves me so much time because otherwise I would have to set up an interview and drive to the airport. Because I think that's the closest one. It's either drive to the airport or I could drive downtown. I'd have to drive down to the airport. And then I'd have to just take out a big chunk of my day to do that. Now I just got it done in the time that I was waiting. You know, I probably could have been eating snacks and food at the airport, so I lost some time there, but that's okay. It's okay. Oh, Going Oliver says, "Co, why did you say you might get hurt if you run in spikes?" Because the last time I ran in spikes at a brand event, I got hurt. And so I'm not used to running in spikes. I run in them maybe once a year. I'm probably going to get in some spikes this summer, I think. But yeah, so like a couple years ago I think it was my first first TRE. So it was maybe 2021. And there was a Hoka event. It was the Carbon X3 demo. And also, like, they got us some Cielo XD MD spikes, not the long distance spikes, the middle distance spikes for us to test out. I didn't get to keep those. No, I did get to keep those. I have those. But anyway, we tested some spikes, and we're doing like some strides, and then I'm doing strides for about 100 meters, and I thought maybe I'd do a 150, and I just feel like it's I ended up like tweaking a hamstring because I just wasn't used to running with mechanics like that, and I was trying to PR at CIM like in 4 days, so I was like, this is a problem. I should not do that. And so because I'm still training for London, I did not want to get into spikes and have it accidentally overexert myself in the spikes, because I feel like it's easy to do that there. Plus, spikes are really harsh to run it. I mean, even nice spikes, they're still spikes. So it's like it's tough on your ankles, and my ankles already are feeling a little bit beat up from the training cycle. So I was just like, this is going to be a little bit too harsh of a ride for me. So I didn't want to get into spikes. They looked fun. Cobalt Blue says, everything that's sold past security can go on the plane? Okay. That's good to know. Then how do they know the difference between coffee? Do I have to declare it if I have coffee that I bought before I get to the airport? I don't know. Tommy Runs is here. He says, "Co, what's going on, Tommy? How are you?" Looks like Tommy already got some workouts in too since he's been back, but it was good to spend the weekend with you, man. Hopefully you got back safely. Adam says, "I did some crazy bus rides when I was in the Peace Corps in Nepal. Benadryl to get you through the night." Oh, okay. That's a good tip. I forgot to bring Advil with me again on this trip, and it bit me in the butt. I don't know what I did. but my back is really sore. It's still sore now. Maybe it was from the track day, but I think it was because I was sleeping really funny. I had just some weird sleeping. Not that comfortable in the hotel. The hotel room was really nice and it was comfortable, but I just didn't sleep well in it. And I think my back is all tweaked and messed up because of it. And I needed Advil. Emily about had some. That was really nice. She got some for me. So, yeah. But it didn't actually help all that much. Red Stripes helped a lot. That was good. But then, like, also sitting on a plane for a whole bunch didn't help. And then sitting and editing videos doesn't help either. I've been able to run still with it, though, even though my back hurts. Tommy knows. He saw me. I was walking around hunched over for the last 2 days because my back was bothering me. Steven C1984 says, did you see the Boston DNF merch? I have not seen that. Frank says, the Boston DNF jacket is so weird. Is that official? Interesting. Eric says, instant buy from the Serious Runner, maybe? Boston DNF? That's funny. I mean, I'm going to be a DNS. I mean, I'm not even, I don't even have a bib. I'm going, but I'm on cheer squad. Raj Kumar says, Kofi, I thought you did the Atlanta 10K last July. You got a PB, right? Thanks. Oh yeah, I did. I did. I ran Peachtree. That's a 10K. I forgot that's, yeah. I did get a PB. My PB before then though, that was like 50 minutes. And so I think I ran like a 40-minute, 30 seconds at Atlanta, which I think I could do better. But it's a hilly course. I feel great about it, Let me scroll down. I'm behind you guys. Tommy says, I wish people could have seen how uncomfortable you were, yet still crushing it and getting content. I was pretty uncomfortable. We did I didn't like explicitly say it in the video, but all like the street art that was in the video, we went on a street art tour. And like that was when like my back was at its worst and I couldn't stand up. And then Luke, the guy, the Australian who lives in Dubai, he was asking me about it later. He's like, why didn't you just take, because I had a water bottle. I drank a water bottle and then there wasn't like garbage to throw it away. So I just put it in my back pocket, like the empty water bottle. And he thought I was walking funny because I had a water bottle in my pocket. And he asked me later, he's like, hey, why didn't you just take the water bottle out of your pocket? You were walking funny today. I'm like, no, my back hurts. I can't stand up straight. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was a struggle. Like if I stand up for a little while, it'll straighten out and I can stand up. And then if I go to sit, it'll hurt. But then if I sit for a little while, it'll be fine. And then if I go to stand up, it'll hurt. So I don't know. It's been like 3 days now. It's kind of a lot. Natsuku says, any info on the More version 5? I'm thinking about picking up a V4 on deep discount, but if V5 is around the corner, I might wait. I have no idea. I've seen it in December, but I don't know when it's coming out. And Tommy Run says, Luke was hilarious. That dude, he was like full energy. He's just all energy all the time. I feel like he wakes up at just like full tilt, full volume. There's no in between. He really enjoyed singing at Tough Gong. He's a great guy. AJ says, Tommy Run says, let's talk about this extensive Swahili you speak though. I only know pole pole. And I only know that because Wesley told us. Tommy's all acting like I knew Swahili offhand. But before we got on the buses, they told us Wesley is like, everyone's like, Wesley is an 800-meter record holder, but doesn't matter because when it's a group run, it's pole pole. He's like, pole pole means slowly, slowly. So I like that. Martha says, get thee to your PT, go Boozy. I don't have a PT. I've been using the heating pad. I've been doing the, lift up one leg and then do that. Basically, every time I can, I'll like lay down on my belly and straighten myself out. Or I'll just like, I don't know if Tommy saw it, but I would have this camera and it would hurt to like lift past my head because then it would arch the back. And so I just put the camera on my head like this because it would be like a weight. And it was slowly stretching my back. So I don't know. I'm getting better, I think. Matthias says you can get the Morbi 4 at $60 at a lot of places. It's a no lose. Can you really? That's an amazing price. That's a really amazing price. $60. I must be trying to get rid of them all then. All right. Sega Dreamcast says Red Stripe, hooray beer. So they had all these Red Stripes, but I think Red Stripe just started making other flavors of beer. One was sorrel, which I don't even know what that is, but I did try one of those. And they, kind of like Bud Light has like Bud Light Lime and all this stuff. Like they had like other flavors of Red Stripe, but they came in like clear regular beer bottles. And I'm like, what's the fun in that? So I was trying to find the Red Stripe. Because, when in Jamaica, drink the Jamaican beer. Not that the other Red Stripes weren't Jamaican, but, it felt weird to not be drinking the Red Stripe because it has a very distinctive shape. The other funny thing that happened is I don't know if I have them here, but for a long time now, I've been using koozies to hold extra lenses. And so this trip, I was trying an experiment. I wanted to use my A6700 as a vlogging camera, mainly because I anticipated, and I was right, that there'd be a lot of evening or low light things. And the GoPro is always terrible at it. And I thought I'd bring a couple of lenses, and that way I'd put I've just bought an 11mm lens. I put a small 11mm lens in my pocket, and then I'd have a longer lens, this is like a 50mm lens that I could use in case I needed to reach a little bit further. We're at dinner one night, and I take the lens out of my pocket and set it on the table because I just didn't want it to fall out of my pocket and hit the ground. And all that Jeremy Miller, who was there, could see is the koozie. And it was a non-elite koozie, the one that we did at Chicago Marathon with Rabbit. And he goes, is that a Kofuzi koozie? I'm like, it is a Kofuzi koozie, non-elite with Rabbit. He's like, why'd you bring a koozie? I was just like, well, sometimes you get a beer and you don't want your hand to get wet or cold, so you just bring a koozie. He's like, for real? I was like, no, I put my lenses in this. So I thought that was pretty funny. And Kurt Siege says, the spikes can give you a bit too much stress. The one that I can say really feels different if you have tried it is the New Balance Fuel Cell XC spikes. Crazy how comfortable they feel, and they're so soft. Oh, I haven't tried those. Interesting. Maybe I need to try some of those. I basically need the spikes. Then you know how they make spikes now that don't actually have spikes on them, but they're like a spiked shoe, but they have like a non-removable kind of like spike plate. It's just like a bunch of teeth on the bottom, I feel like that is like more my speed. But it's hard to run on spikes, especially once you get older. You're not used to it anymore. Brian Albrecht says, my buddy from Wisconsin has a koozie at every moment, just in case. Office suit? Yep. Gym shorts? Yeah. I usually bring one around with me when I'm in Iowa. In the summertime, I'll just stick them in the back, one in my back pocket. It's customary. It's not like something I decided I was going to do, like everyone else does. Like you'll roll up to a place, usually someone's garage, and like someone will hand you a beer. And then everyone's got koozies, and I'm looking around like, where'd you guys get a koozie? And they're like, we brought them. Yeah, Adam says the Asics has the no spikes. I heard they slip when they're wet, though, like for the steeple. Oh, then I don't know. I think I want to try to run another steeple this year. I think, though, that the USATF Masters Championships might be at a difficult time for me summer-wise. But I'm thinking I might do that. I might try and find a mile or a half-mile race to hop into. There's a lot of summer track meets around here. So I think I might want to do it. They're kind of like all-comers meets. I think like family kind of stuff. But I don't know. Video says koozie culture sounds like Hank Hill. He was a very practical man. You know, say what you will about Frank Hill, but he was practical. AJ wants to know if I'm going to try the Cloud Surfer TR. I have them. They sent them to me a while back. I just am not running in any trail shoes right now because I'm getting ready for London. Someone mentioned it earlier in the chat, but I am going to have a quick turnaround to go from London Marathon to Tiger Claw 50K. And so I'll be in pretty much all trail shoes after London. Well, after I get back from Europe. Not that that's that long. I don't know what I'm going to run Tiger Claw in. I'm thinking, I don't know, I have to do a little bit more recon and figure out what the terrain is going to be like. If it's like what, you know, Ginger Runner normally runs on, I feel like it's going to be wet and slippery. I'm thinking maybe the Solomon Thundercross might be a good choice. I could be in that shoe for 50K. I think the longest day I've had in that was 13 miles. Maybe I did longer than that. But I don't know. I think I could do that one. That one's a little bit more roomy. But I feel like I need like tougher lugs on the bottom. But yeah. And eventually I'll try the Cloud Surfer TR. And Paul Bullock says, after watching the Distance Project, Callum Elson at World Indoors, I feel like no spikes is definitely the way to go. I remember watching that as it happened live. And like, I was just like, what happened? He hurt his ankle, hurt his calf. And I just kind of felt like it didn't look like he hurt himself all that bad. And then I watched his YouTube video and that said his Achilles was shredded because someone spiked him in the exact wrong way. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was intense. That was intense. Eric says, go for the Tribuco Max or the Mafate Speed 4, something that drains and the Thundercross doesn't. Oh, good point. I feel like the Tribuco Max might be a little bit too bouncy. Am I going to need something a little bit more agile or grippy than that? I don't know. Mafate Speed 4 could be a good one. I love that shoe. And Calvin's asking about the Tribuco Max, or is that not aggressive enough? I don't really need it to be that aggressive. I don't think I'm going to be running it very aggressively. Maybe if there's some fun downhill sections, I might, try to go down there and really send it. But I'm going to go out there for smiles, So like I just don't want to be in like the absolute wrong shoe. I feel like there's a lot of right shoes. Okay. Brian Albrecht says, shoe question, and maybe we'll end on this one for today. Any recommendations for a long run shoe? I love my Speed 2s, but not excited for the $170 for the 4s and not seeing anything on sale, but really like something with pop, but not race day. I'm going to point you in the direction of the DV8 Nitro 2s. I think that the last time I looked, they were all full price at $160. But I know they've been on sale before. I like the DV8 Nitro 2s more. Do I like it more than the Speed 2? I'm not sure. Speed 2 was a really good one. But yeah, that would be the one that I would look at. Hopefully you can find that one on discount. All right, I think that's a good place to end it for today, guys. If you haven't seen the Runners Week in Jamaica, I think that's a fun one. I ended up making it longer than I thought it would be, so that turned out good. Well, it's a good treadmill length. So if you got some treadmill miles, maybe save it for that, And also, don't forget the non-elite cap, not this beanie, but the non-elite cap is finally available on Path Project. So check it out over there if you want to see it. No video for tomorrow, but we'll do another live stream. And we'll do Guess the Follower count. We'll play a game tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you an athlete. You have to guess how many followers that they have. We'll just be probably all Instagram athletes. So we'll play that game tomorrow. Maybe we'll do it on. I got a lot of packages, but if we do it in a game, we'll just do the game. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. Until I see you again, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.